Inequalities. Multiply or divide by a negative. What happens to 5 is greater than negative 2 when we multiply both sides by negative 3? We're going to get negative 15 and we're going to get a negative 6. Now, if you think about these being on a number line, negative 6 is larger than negative 15. So our inequality would now face the other direction. It would flip over in order to have a true statement. If we had kept this inequality the same as what we started with a greater than, we would have a false statement here. But by flipping it over, we keep a true statement. So our rule is that when we multiply or divide by a negative, you must flip the inequality. So now remember, our 3 steps when solving an inequality are to solve, then graph, then write in interval notation. So let's take a look at our first example here. We have 7 minus 3x is less than or equal to 16. So I'm going to start on the side with my variable, add the opposite to our 7, which would be a negative 7. And I get negative 3x is less than or equal to 9. Again, start on the side with the variable, divide by the number in front of the variable, which would be a negative 3. And I'm going to get x. I flip my inequality over, so it's now reading greater than or equal to negative 3. So now that I have it solved, let's graph this. So again, we'll just do a simple number line. I'll put in my negative 3. Because of the equal on here, we're going to have a closed dot. Now this time it says that x is greater than or equal to negative 3. So that means it is off to the right. We're going to positive infinity. So now we're going to graph this. We're going to go from negative 3 to positive infinity. So there's my graph. Now, to do my interval notation, I'm going to write down my negative 3 and infinity. My negative 3 has a closed dot, so that means I'm going to use my bracket because of the equal sign. Infinity always gets a parenthesis. So my interval looks like bracket, negative 3, comma, infinity, parenthesis. Let's take a look at example 2. I'm going to start on the side with my variable, add the opposite to my number, which should be a negative 16. So now I have a negative 12 is less than negative 2x. I divide by the number in front of my variable, which should be a negative 2. So I'm going to get 6 is greater than x. Because I remember that I need to flip the inequality. Now, sometimes it's kind of awkward to write or graph this like this, so we can do a rewrite of this, saying that this is x less than 6. Notice that I keep my arrow, my inequality pointing to my x, and the large end towards my 6. So on my graph, I'm going to find my 6, put that in. Because I do not have an equal, it's going to be an open dot at 6. My 6 is greater than x, or in other words, x is less than 6. So we're going to be going to negative infinity. So we go from negative 6 to the end of my graph. And now we're ready to do the inequality. So I have negative infinity and 6. Infinities always get parentheses. Open dots always get parentheses. So I have parenthesis, negative infinity, comma 6, parenthesis.